So today, guys, we're going to be talking about the new gear set coming in Title Update 15. This is the Heartbreaker, and I will tell you, this set's a lot of fun to use. Now, will I call it the best PvE set in the game? It's still really too early on, and there's a couple things I don't like about it, and I'll explain those in a second. But don't get me wrong, the set does have a really good talent that makes it very viable for you players who want to play kind of a hybrid build, right? It definitely reminds me a little bit of Striker from Division 1, right? And the reason why is because you gain damage and you gain armor, and in Division 1 we didn't have armor, so it had healing. It actually healed us, right? So that is the big difference between the two, and that's why I think the set is actually pretty fun to use. Now, one thing I personally was a little bit annoyed with was the 5-second timer, right? So if you don't have the enemy pulsed for 5 seconds, so say if there's a wave and there's not an enemy nearby and they spawn in another location, you will have to start your stack all over. So that means you lose that 200% armor if you're running the chest piece, or you lose that 100% weapon damage, right? Because those are the max stacks if you guys are running the chest and the backpack. But let's talk about the build itself, right? So this is the new logo for the new Heartbreaker set. It's actually pretty fun, right? So what does the set do, right? So the 2-piece gives you that 15% assault rifle damage, 15% LMG damage. The 3-piece gives you that 15% weapon handling, and the 4-piece heart stopper. Weapon hits on pulse enemies add and refresh a stack of 1% bonus armor and 1% damage to pulse enemies for 5 seconds. Now the max stack is 50. Now, I honestly did like running it with the backpack because instead of that 1% bonus armor, you get 2% bonus armor per stack. So with the 50 stack, that's 100% armor and 50% weapon damage. Now, we can actually improve that by running the chest piece, and that's what I did. Because the chest piece, what it does is it increases your stacks from 50 to 100. So what does that mean? Well, we can have 100% weapon damage and 200% bonus armor at max stack. Now, getting stacks isn't the easiest, but I will tell you, using a faster rate of fire AR definitely helps. It 100% helps. I actually tried using a new AR that only has 500 RPM, and it was way too slow. So I will tell you guys, if you guys plan on running this to build those stacks quick, 100% recommend running something that has a higher RPM. Now, I will tell you guys, if you guys don't have a pulse build, or if you aren't using the link laser pointer, you need to make sure you're hitting those headshots. So right now you can see that I have a headshot version of the build on all headshots. So when I get that headshots, I keep that pulse going. Now, if you're trying to run it like this, I will tell you, you need to make sure you're knocking out these headshots and keeping that pulse alive. Now, you can run a pulse too if you guys want to run the Gilligard mask that has that 100% pulse and then just keep pulsing enemies. You can do that. Or you can even run the link laser pointer, which will automatically pulse the enemies, and that also will allow you to keep that stack going. So that is a few ways for you guys to keep it. The one thing I will tell you that I didn't like is when you have gaps of waves, like say like right now in control points, you know, you clear one side, then you have to defend. Those 5 seconds go away, right? And you don't slowly lose your stacks, you lose the whole stacks. So you have to start from scratch. You have to build that stack, you have to pulse the enemy, you have to get them going. So that's the one thing I didn't like. And if you're not running a link laser pointer, it can become an issue. So I will tell you, if you do have small gaps where you don't see the enemy, like I was looking for one and look, I missed them, right? So I have to start my stack again. This is where I did see a problem with it. I feel like maybe if they bumped it up to 7 seconds or even 10 seconds, it could probably help out a lot. But I don't want to jump into that conclusion just yet until I do test it with the link laser pointer. The one thing I didn't want to do though is create a build that I needed to use a certain specialization. So I needed to run the technician class to get that link laser pointer. I wanted to run something that I don't have to rely on a specific specialization, and I feel like with that I have to, right? So that is the one thing that I do want to test it out though. I do want to test a little bit more to see how that works with the link laser pointer. Is it a lot easier to keep those stacks? Now, when you get waves and waves of enemies and you build that stack, right, that armor stack, you build that weapon damage, you're hitting, so you don't have trouble knocking out enemies, and you're so tanky. Especially, I believe I had what 1.3 or 1.5 million armor on the build I was running, and he was struggling to take down my armor. So you could become a tanker, and that's what I do like about it. And I feel like the build is fun. It definitely reminds me of Striker from Division 1. But like right here, I'm about to lose my stacks, and you're gonna see in a second. Once they take off my armor, I'm pretty much done, right? Like, I lost the stacks, I lost the bonus armor, and boom, I go down. So that is just something with this build you do have to be conscious of. So I guess it's the learning curve for the build itself. But I do think if you can keep that pulse going, if you can keep those stacks going, that's where this build shines the most. Obviously, that's where you're getting all that damage. Now, would it benefit from a little bit increase on the time itself? I think maybe. I don't know. I want to know what you guys think. Everybody who is testing it, let me know what you guys do. You think that it could benefit from an increase from 5 seconds to 10 seconds? I definitely going to keep testing it more. I think the set is very viable and very good. Will it be the best set? It's still too early on to say. Still, Hunter's Fury is still going to be a slapper, if you guys know what I mean. That thing's still going to destroy enemies. So what we'll do is we'll definitely keep track of this and see how this works. And I honestly just want to know what you guys think about the set. I have been testing out the exotics. I've been testing out different pieces just so I can make videos and just give my reaction and my review and what I think about them. Are they good? Are they bad? What can be improved on them? Because that's what this PTS is for us to test these out. So hopefully once the new patch does go live in Title Update 15, you guys get something that is solid and at least pieces that a lot of people want to use, right? What we don't want is gear sets and brand sets that just fill up our stash space, and we 100% don't want that, right? So testing these sets out, testing the exotics out, giving your honest feedback about them is really going to help us all out, right? And that's what I want. I just want gear sets that we want to use. I don't want another ongoing directive that I just throw in my stash. I don't want another bighorn that sits in my stash. I don't want another Sawyer knee pads that sit in my stash. Like, I want something that I use a lot, right? Like, I use more often than not. I actually have builds for it and I want to use. Like, when I want to run a status effect build, I run my Eclipse mask. I actually like the mask, you know, like it's something I would truly want. If I want to run a DPS build, sometimes I run the Coyote mask. Like, there are pieces and there are gear sets like the Hunter's Fury set, Aces and Eights. All those sets are definitely sets that you can use, but then you also have sets that just take up space, and that's what I don't want. Let me know what you guys think about the new set. Have you tried it out? I think this set definitely has a really upside to it, and I can't wait to see more builds and even try more builds once I get all my pieces. And I'll keep playing with it because I do want to get a really good feel for it and see if that 5 seconds is okay, right? It might actually be, you know, it's so early on, it might be great, but this is just my initial impressions on it, right? I'll keep testing it out and I'll give you guys updates on it on Twitter. All right, guys, we're gonna wrap this up. Appreciate the support, appreciate the love. Until the next one, Nothing But Skills is out.